Churchill is often referred to as the greatest orator of the 20th century. The speeches he made during the summer of 1940 established the policy of no surrender and made people feel that they were not alone in the struggle against Hitler. On May 10th of 1940, Germany had begun making advances to take over France. Just 2 months earlier, previous prisoner of war and then Conservative Member of Parliament, Winston Churchill, accepted the position as Prime Minister of England. All along Churchill's political career, he had sensed that Hitler would be a growing threat. Yet his warnings and accusations of Hitler's intentions were ignored. Hitler proved the accusations of Churchill gave all along were correct when he started the Battle of Britain. The German Air Force began its strike on the Royal Air Force between August and September of 1940. Even though Britain's best defense against Hitler was an air attack Even though Britain's best defense against an air attack is the Royal Air Force because of its highly skilled and prepared, Hitler saw the vulnerability of an island right off the coast of France, Dunkirk. Although Hitler intended to negotiate, Winston Churchill knew Hitler all too well and knew that he would not abide by any negotiations he agreed on. This decision erupted anger in Hitler. In response, it invoked him to begin a full-scale invasion on the nation. Hitler wanted to use divide and conquer, so by the second week in May, Hitler had broken the French defenses at Sedan and Meudon. As he advanced, he destroyed much in his way and pushed all the troops to a small island of Dunkirk. The enemy attacked on all sides with great strength and fierceness, and their main power, the power of their was far more numerous. And it was thrown into the battle, and all the power was concentrated on Dunkirk and the beaches. The beaches of Dunkirk, where the troops had retreated, were completely surrounded. The German force used cannons fired on the island and put mines under the sand and utilized every German airplane to continuously fire on the single pier from 100 planes at a time. Meanwhile, the Royal Navy, with the help of countless merchant seamen, strained every nerve to embark the British and Allied troops. 220 light warships and 650 other vessels were engaged. They had to operate on the difficult coast, often in very hard weather, with a ceaseless hail of bombs and increasing concentration of fire. Although they were avoiding all of Hitler's rage, they also had to avoid torpedoes and mines and be aware of the weather. So on June 1st, while they were experiencing heavy weather, the British expeditionary forces put a call out to all ships, big or small, on the sea, asking for help to evacuate the troops. Over 900 vessels responded, ranging from big warships, fishing vessels, and other private leisure boats. By the 3rd of June, the remaining British troops had been evacuated and ships turned to go home. But there were still French volunteers and soldiers left on Dunkirk, so Winston Churchill told the ships to go back. By June 4th, 1940, the Royal Navy had returned, and over 26,000 French soldiers were safe. The French brought the total number of rescued to 338,226 men out of nearly 400,000 British, French, Belgian, Polish, and Dutch soldiers that they had throughout the city of Dunkirk. This occurrence inspired Winston Churchill to give one of his most famous, influential speeches of the 20th century, "We shall fight on the beaches." He gave this speech at the House of Commons on June 4th after all the French and British troops had been saved. The speech was an attempt to prepare his country and the world of the coming Nazi control, and also to make an appeal to the United States for help. He began his speech by a strong invoking quote, explaining that even if all else fails, the British Empire and the French Republic would stand firm and take on the war full force and defeat those who attempted to conquer their home. Churchill then acknowledges that Hitler had already overthrown many nations, but firmly states that British and the French would not fail. The last part of the speech is an influential and inspiring rhetoric tool. It keeps repeating the phrase, "We shall fight," over and over again. He is once again bringing confidence to all and stimulating the people to stand up and guard their homeland. Surprisingly, when he spoke, he had a slight mutter. However, that did not impact the speech, which is clear because so many people responded and had a sense of admiration. Winston Churchill's words inspired a revolution of change and gave the Allies of World War II confidence to stand up and fight. Churchill was said to lead the country throughout the war years, even until after victory in Europe had been secured. "We shall fight on the beaches" gave the troops one of the most important aspects of war: hope. Although that hope was only temporary because only 1 month after France fell to the Germans. The war did not last forever, though. France, along with the Allies, did indeed win the war in the end. They fought with whole heart and confidence wherever and whenever the German army, navy, and even air force attacked. Since the end of World War II, this speech is still used to inspire revolutions,